Entrepreneur at night and founder of my screen color all day.
Is that? Screen, yeah.
Okay, great. So?
Okay, so let me introduce myself. I'm Peach, and I'm the founder of mycolorscreen.com. I am also a user interface designer by profession, and also a web designer freelancer. So today I'll talk about design startup in Asia. And as you can see here, I work a lot in design industry. But actually, I have a little dirty secret for you. I don't really have any design-related academic degrees whatsoever. My background is actually from computer science and also Master of Management. And you guys are probably wondering why a guy like me, a businessman slash programmer, is currently talking about design, right? What I do have is I believe in design. I believe that design could could solve a lot of problems out there. And I believe it could be the last puzzle of struggling startups out there, or even big corporates right now. So today, I'll talk about design startup in Asia. Now, you may have heard a lot of success stories from a design-driven companies such as Instagram, Pinterest, and Airbnb. It is pretty well covered on the internet and all the news all over the world, right? So today, I'm not going to focus on these success stories. What I'll talk about is something more actionable, something that you could use in your startup later on. So I have three things to talk about today. The why do you really need a designer or design for that matter? And I'll give you some real examples of my personal experience. And where do you find the right designer for your startup? And how do you interact with them? How do you persuade them to join? Now, let's begin with the why. First, I have to readjust your perspective on designer. Designers nowadays are not just a person who add glossy effects to buttons and logos anymore. We are well versed with other skill sets that you might not have known of, and here are three of them. User research. We love to predict users' behavior, and the reason behind this is that most of the freelancers out there, they need to receive the client's work from the clients, right? And they need to understand really what the clients, or what that target audience of their products are like. And so we always have to predict and see the user flow and understand it. And so I think this will be a very important benefit for the startup, especially the early stage startup where you are not really sure how the product workflow is. And I believe that designers will be able to help that for you. Now, the second skill set is the management, where we need to survive, right? And there's a lot of freelancers out there. And we need to manage our time, we need to manage our expense. And so I believe designers could help you, or could help your early stage startup to manage all these kind of aspects of management. Now, the last skill set is marketing. Well, there's a lot of freelancers out there, right? And for the best freelance designer, they have to market themselves differently to be unique in those groups of people. And so what they do is they integrate their attitude and their design style into their marketing practices. And so I believe that this will be beneficial for an early stage startup where you don't have the funding or the money to hire a marketing guy. Designers could help you with that. Now, let's talk more about design. Most of the people in the world always say that they should not judge the books by its cover. But to tell you the truth, people always judge the book by its cover. The reason behind this is that there's so many books out there. Are you willing to read all the content of the book just to decide whether you want to buy it or not? Of course not, right? Because you wasted your time. And so this also applies to the web consumer industry. There's so many websites out there. There's so many people creating new products, new websites every day. And what the users do is they don't want to read all the content. They just glance at the website and create their first impression in their mind. And this is where design comes in. Design is the first message being delivered to the consumers. And this could result in a sales or no sales for your startups. And when the consumers create their first impression, it is very, very difficult to change that first impression. So you don't want someone else to craft this first message and send a wrong message to the consumers, right? That is why we need a designer. Now let's see some examples. What is your first impression about this website? From the looks of it, I think it is about something to do with credit cards, right? Something to do with payment. The site is very clean and it creates trust for the consumer. The reason behind this, why clean site or well-organized site creates trust to the consumer, is that, imagine this, if you walk into a restaurant, a clean restaurant, your mind automatically thinks that the food is clean, right? But if you walk into a dirty restaurant, the food will definitely be dirty. That is your mind. And so, this is why a well-organized website creates trust for the consumers. Now, what do you think about this website? Do you even know what it does? Well, what I know for one thing is that the owner of this website is very greedy. They are willing to jeopardize their quality of content just for the sake of money. So they put advertisement everywhere, and this is over the fold. So you have to scroll a lot down, to see the real content. And so, if I see someone else or someone out in the world, saying about this website, I'll try my best to persuade them not to ever go back to this website again. As you can see here, the first impression is very strong, and it will take a while to persuade me to change my first impression of this website. And so, this is why I think the designer should be the one who crafted the first message, not businessmen or other types of founders. Now, let's see some real examples. Before I arrived here in Beijing, I did some little experiment with my site, mycolorscreen.com. Oh, and by the way, mycolorscreen.com is a place for people to share what applications they're currently using on their iPhone and Androids. So it's a community website. Now, I changed the approach to a total different approach from my previous design, and here's the comparison. On the left side, you can see that the website is very data-driven. All the information are cleansed into one page. And you don't really know what the website is about until you really pay attention to the site. What my new approach is, design-driven approach. I focus what the people came here for. So I moved the screenshots of the phone to the center and remove any unnecessary thing or remove it out of the page. And so, I got to tell you, this new approach really gives a positive result. And here's some example. I was able to get featured on The Verge, one of the well-known tech blog in the US, without even contacting them, or without even sending an email about the release. And so, half of the success of this release is probably by this new user, Low-Level Ninja. He captioned his discovery on the website as screenshot porn, which is really why this is the reason why they catch so many attention from the editors of The Verge in the first place. And so this proves my point that if you have the right message targeting to the right audience, the users will want to share it, will want to market your product for you. And so as you can see, we got a lot of features, and The Verge is the first one that got the features without me even contacting them. Now let's see some numbers. With the old design, I have contacted 8 press, and only 1 covers my release. Now with the new design, I contact 3 press, and 6 of them covers the release, whereas 5 of them, and TechCrunch is one of them, is out of nowhere. So this proves my point that if you have a very well organized that is right for your target audience, people will trust your product. People will think that you have a legit product, and they will likely reply your email more. So since you know the importance of design, let's talk about where. Where could you find the right designer for your startup, especially in Asia where there's not many talent pool out there? I have 2 suggestions for you. First, you need to research on the internet on an online community such as Dribble.com or Behance Network. These online communities will allow the designers to show off their work, their current work, and their latest work with other designers that get appreciated by. And so you can search through this website and see what kind of style those designers have and see which one will match your startup style, and make a list of names. Now, the second recommendation is to meet them face to face. You can meet them by events such as this, or design-centric events, and you can find them in the meetup.com, as you can see here. So once you get the name of the designers, simply just start networking in the design industry. And even if you didn't get the designer from your list, don't worry, because these designers are very well connected in their design industry. And they will be able to suggest you another designer that might be interested in working with your startup. Here are some examples. I did like 5-minute search on those online communities, and I found 2 of them are from Beijing, and they have a very, very high quality work. And one of them are from Indonesia and another from Malaysia. You'll be surprised how many talented designers are out there already and are already established in those online communities internationally. And take like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, just search through these online communities and find the right designer for your startup. Now, since you know where to find them, let's talk more about how. How do you persuade them to join? How do you interact with them? Well, I have 3 recommendations. The first recommendation is you need to treat design as equally as programmers or a business aspect of the startup. The reason behind this is that for a designer to create the right work, they need to see the big picture of the business. So you should start inviting them to join you in a business planning stage or business planning meetup. They will be able to provide you or create the right workflow throughout the product. And so invite them to join in other stage of business and treat them equally. Don't treat them like employees. And the second suggestion is, as Simon Sinek, one of the well-known US speaker, has said previously, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And this also applies to people that is working in your startup. You need to tell them why. You need to tell them why they need to do this, they need to do that, and you need to tell them why the problems that your startup is currently solving is important. You need to make them believe in your solution. And they'll be able to give you some opinion, and you should accept the opinion from designers. And I think that, well, you need to tell them the reasons behind it, and also if you are able to persuade them to join, they will create the right product, the right design work for you. Now, one last suggestion for me. You need to offer something that is more than money. Freelance work, I can tell you that freelance work pays them really, really well. And so you need to offer something that they cannot turn down, that they don't want to miss out. So my tip to you is that invite them to join into your founding team. And the reason behind this is that because when we're working as a freelancer, the connection between the work and the designer themselves are cut off. When it's done, the design is now owned by the clients, right? And so they lack the sense of ownership of their product. And what you need to tell them is that you need to give them the full control of the design aspect of your startup. And this always happens when I work with other clients. They say that they are going to give you full control, but eventually the control is by them. And the freelancers will never get full control of the design aspect of the work. And so you need to offer them full control of the design aspect, and designer will be able to produce the right design for you. So as you can see here, designers is very important, right? And design is definitely very essential for startup. And I would like to wish everyone, every founders and every business here, every startups here, a good luck, a best wish, and I hope that you'll be able to find the right design DNA for your startups. Thank you.
Just one small question. How do you say thank you in Thai?
ขอบคุณครับ or if you are a woman, then ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Yeah.
Okay, ขอบคุณค่ะ
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So,